The private jet's leather seats still smelled of new money when Chittybeer Okafor grabbed Amara's arm and dragged her toward the cabin door. Her 3-year-old daughter Zainab screamed from her seat, tiny hands reaching for her mother as the flight attendant held her back. "Get off my plane," Chitty spat, his designer suit crumpling as he shoved Amara toward the exit. "You think I'd let you and that bastard child fly to Johannesburg with my family? You're nothing but a gold-digging whore." The dozen passengers on the chartered flight gasped. Amara's best friend Ngozi lunged forward, but Chitty's brother Emeka blocked her path. Through the window, Amara could see the Lagos skyline glittering in the afternoon sun, Murtala Muhammad International Airport bustling below them. They hadn't even taken off yet. The pilot's voice crackled over the intercom, asking what the delay was about. "Chitty, please," Amara begged, her voice breaking. "Zainab is your daughter. She needs her medication. It's in the luggage." "Lies," Chitty roared. His mother, Mama Okafor, sat in the front row wearing her expensive Ankara wrapper and Geli head wrap, saying nothing. Just watching with cold eyes as her son destroyed the woman she'd pretended to love for 3 years. "I know the truth now. Adeola told me everything." Amara's blood ran cold. Adeola. Her husband's secretary. The woman who'd been sending her strange looks at the company Christmas party 6 months ago. What would you do if you walked in on this? Hit like if you've been betrayed, and comment below where you're watching from. The door opened with a hydraulic hiss. Airport security stood at the bottom of the stairs, called by Chitty's people. Amara looked back at her daughter one last time. Zainab's face was wet with tears, her small body shaking with sobs that broke something fundamental in Amara's chest. The child had her father's eyes, his dimples when she smiled. Anyone could see it. But Chitty had decided to be blind to the truth because Adeola had poisoned his mind with lies. "You'll regret this," Amara said quietly, her voice steady despite the tears streaming down her face. "When you learn the truth, you'll fall on your knees and beg. But I won't be there." Chitty laughed, cruel and sharp. "Get her out of here." Security escorted Amara down the stairs. Her red dress, the one she'd bought specifically for this family trip to South Africa, billowed in the jet wash. She'd been so excited this morning. Her husband had finally agreed to take time off from his tech company, Okafor Innovations, to spend quality time with their daughter. His mother had even insisted on coming along, which Amara had taken as a sign of acceptance after years of tension. She should have known better. Mama Okafor never did anything without a reason. As Amara's feet hit the tarmac, she heard the jet's engines roar to life. Through the window, she could see Zainab pressing her face against the glass, still crying. Ngozi was trying to comfort her, but the little girl only wanted her mother. The flight attendant, a young woman who'd looked at Amara with pity, was speaking into her phone frantically. Amara stood alone on the runway as the private jet taxied toward the runway. Her phone buzzed in her purse. She pulled it out with shaking hands. A message from an unknown number. "Check your email. The truth will set you free. A friend." Her heart pounding, Amara opened her email app. The message at the top made her knees weak. The sender was anonymous, but the subject line read, "Proof of what Adeola has done." Attached were bank statements, text messages, and photos. Lots of photos. Adeola and Chitty, wrapped in each other's arms at a hotel in Abuja. Dates going back 2 years. Before Amara had even given birth to Zainab. The messages were worse. Adeola planning how to get rid of that village girl, who'd trapped Chitty with a pregnancy. Adeola convincing Mama Okafor that Zainab wasn't really Chitty's child. Adeola transferring money from Okafor Innovations accounts into offshore banking havens. But the final attachment made Amara's hands start to shake for an entirely different reason. It was a video file, time-stamped from 2 hours ago, before they'd arrived at the airport. The video showed Adeola in the Okafor mansion, in Chitty's private office, going through his safe. She pulled out documents, photographed them with her phone, then carefully placed something small and black among the papers. Amara knew corporate espionage when she saw it. Before marrying Chitty, she'd been a cybersecurity analyst for one of Nigeria's top banks. She'd given up her career when Zainab was born because Mama Okafor had insisted a proper wife stayed home. Now she understood why. They'd wanted her dependent, powerless, easy to discard. She zoomed in on the video. The object Adeola had planted looked like a flash drive. Amara's mind raced through the possibilities. Company secrets, client data, intellectual property. Okafor Innovations had just secured a massive government contract worth 200 million naira. If their competitors got that information, or if government regulators found evidence of corruption, real or planted, Chidi would lose everything. The jet was at the end of the runway now, preparing for takeoff. Amara's phone buzzed again. Another message from the anonymous sender. The flash drive contains malware. It will activate mid-flight and corrupt all devices on the plane, including the navigation system. You have 3 minutes to stop them. Amara's blood turned to ice. Her daughter was on that plane. She started running. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. What do you think Amara should do? Comment below. Amara's heels clicked against the tarmac as she sprinted toward the runway, her lungs burning. The security guards who'd escorted her off the plane shouted behind her, their voices lost in the roar of jet engines. She could see the private plane at the end of runway 18R, its nose pointed toward the sky, seconds from takeoff. Stop. Stop the plane. She screamed, waving her arms. There's a bomb. It was a lie, but it was the only thing that would work fast enough. Zainab's face flashed through her mind, those innocent brown eyes, the way she giggled when Amara tickled her feet. The thought of her baby girl in a plane with corrupted navigation systems, thousands of feet in the air, made Amara's chest constrict with terror. A guard tackled her from behind. Amara hit the ground hard, asphalt scraping her palms bloody. There's something wrong with the plane, she gasped. My daughter is on it. Please, you have to believe me. Madam, you cannot be running on an active runway, the guard said, his Yoruba accent thick with exasperation. You go cause accident. Check the plane's systems, Amara begged. There's malware. Someone planted a device that will corrupt everything, including navigation. The second guard pulled out his radio, clearly thinking she was insane. But protocol was protocol. Any mention of sabotage had to be investigated. Amara watched, her heart in her throat, as he spoke rapid pidgin into his radio. She caught words like woman, sabotage, and mental breakdown. Then she heard it. The change in the engine pitch. The jet was starting its takeoff roll. No, 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 Amara whispered. She tried to stand, but the guard held her down. Through the heat waves rising from the tarmac, she saw the jet picking up speed. Faster, faster, the nose wheel lifting. And then, impossibly, the engines cut. The plane aborted takeoff, brakes squealing as it decelerated. Emergency vehicles surrounded it within seconds, lights flashing red and blue across the afternoon sky. The guard's radio crackled. A supervisor's voice, sharp with urgency, "We're getting anomalous readings from that aircraft. Ground it immediately. FAA protocols. Nobody moves until we've done a full systems check." Amara collapsed back against the tarmac, relief washing over her so intensely she thought she might vomit. Zainab was safe. For now. But as airport security hauled her to her feet and began marching her toward the terminal building, she saw something that made her stomach drop. Through the plane's windows, Chidi was staring directly at her. Even from this distance, she could see the rage on his face. He thought she'd done this. He thought she'd somehow sabotaged his plane out of spite. He had no idea she'd just saved his life. Inside the airport security office, Amara sat in a plastic chair that squeaked every time she moved. Her dress was torn. Her hands were bandaged. Her phone had been confiscated. 2 airport police officers watched her like she might explode at any moment. Through the office's grimy window, she could see the private jet being towed to a hangar for inspection. The door burst open. Chidi stormed in, his face purple with fury, Mama Okafor and Emeka right behind him. Zainab wasn't with them. Probably still with Ngozi on the plane. "You tried to kill us," Chidi snarled, pointing at Amara like she was something he'd scraped off his shoe. "You planted something on my plane because I kicked you off. You're insane. Dangerous. I saved you, Amara said quietly. There was malware planted in your office. It was designed to activate during the flight and corrupt all electronic systems, including navigation. Chitty laughed, but it sounded hollow. You expect me to believe that? You, who've been lying about everything. Officer, I want her arrested. Attempted murder. Terrorism. Whatever charge will stick. One of the airport police, a woman with sergeant stripes on her uniform, held up a hand. Sir, we need to wait for the technical team's report. If there is malware, we need to know how it got there. She put it there, Mama Okafor spoke for the first time, her voice dripping with disgust. This girl has been nothing but trouble since my son married her. From a poor family in Enugu, no proper education, probably involved with criminals. I knew she would bring shame to this family. Amara bit back the angry words threatening to spill out. She'd graduated top of her class from the University of Nigeria. She'd had a promising career before Mama Okafor had convinced her to quit. But defending herself now would be pointless. They'd already decided who she was. Check his office, Amara said instead, meeting Chitty's eyes. You're safe. There's a black flash drive that wasn't there yesterday. Adeola planted it this morning. Something flickered across Chitty's face. Doubt. Fear. It vanished quickly, replaced by contempt. Adeola has been with my company for 5 years. She's loyal. Professional. Unlike you, who married me for money and got pregnant to trap me. Zainab is your daughter, Amara said, her voice breaking. We can do a DNA test right now. Today. But you won't, because deep down you know the truth. Adeola has been lying to you, stealing from you, and now she's tried to kill you. Also she can take over your company. The door opened again. A man in a technician's uniform entered, carrying a tablet. His face was grim. We found it, he said. Sophisticated malware. Military grade. If that plane had taken off, you would have lost all navigation, communication, and engine monitoring systems at 10,000 feet. The room went silent. Chitty's face drained of color. Mama Okafor grabbed her son's arm to steady herself. Emeka swore in Igbo, a prayer and curse combined. Where did it come from? The sergeant asked. The technician pulled up something on his tablet. The malware was transmitted via a flash drive connected to the plane's entertainment system during pre-flight checks. We pulled the security footage. It was done by someone with crew credentials. He turned the tablet around. On the screen, clear as day, was Adeola entering the plane 3 hours earlier, dressed in a flight attendant's uniform, connecting something to the central console. Chitty staggered backward like he'd been punched. That's impossible. Adeola would never. She's been stealing from you for months, Amara said. She turned to the sergeant. My phone. I received evidence. Bank statements. Messages. Everything. The sergeant nodded to her partner, who retrieved Amara's phone from an evidence bag. Amara unlocked it and pulled up the emails. She handed it to Chitty. Read it. All of it. The woman you trusted just tried to murder you, your mother, your brother, and your daughter. As Chitty scrolled through the messages and documents, his hands started to shake. The bank transfers alone showed over 50 million naira siphoned from company accounts. The text messages between Adeola and unknown numbers revealed industrial espionage, corporate sabotage, and worst of all, the deliberate campaign to convince Chitty that Zainab wasn't his child. One message made Chitty's knees buckle. Adeola to an unknown contact. The child definitely has his eyes, but I've convinced him she's not his. Once he divorces the wife, I'll have access to everything. The mother is too easy to manipulate. She believes family loyalty means something. Mama Okafor read over her son's shoulder. Her face went gray. What have we done? She whispered. You threw me off a plane, Amara said, standing up. Her voice was steady now, cold with the fury she'd been holding back. You called me a whore in front of your family and friends. You separated me from my daughter, who needed her medication. You believed lies from a woman you've known 5 years over the wife you made vows to. Chidi looked up at her, tears streaming down his face. Amara, Save it, Amara cut him off. Where is Zainab? Still on the plane with your friend, Emeka said quietly. We should get her. As they walked across the tarmac toward the grounded jet, surrounded by security, Amara felt the weight of everything crash down on her. Her marriage was destroyed. Her trust was shattered. But her daughter was safe, and that was all that mattered. The betrayal ran deeper than infidelity. It was systematic, calculated, designed to strip her of everything, family, dignity, and nearly her life. They climbed the stairs to the plane. Inside, Ngozi sat with Zainab in her lap, singing softly to calm the frightened child. When Zainab saw Amara, she burst into fresh tears and reached for her mother. Amara gathered her daughter close, breathing in the familiar scent of baby shampoo and innocence. Over Zainab's head, she met Ngozi's eyes. Her friend's expression said everything. Ngozi had heard what happened. She'd been there when Chidi had dragged Amara off the plane. I'm so sorry, Chidi said from behind Amara. His voice was broken, destroyed. I'll make this right. I swear to you, I'll fix this. Amara turned slowly. Zainab clutched to her chest. She looked at the man she'd loved enough to sacrifice her career for, the man whose child she'd borne, the man who'd thrown her off a plane based on lies from his mistress. You can't fix this, Chidi. Some things, once broken, stay broken. But you can do one thing. Anything, he said desperately. Find Adeola, Amara said, before she disappears with everything you own. The sergeant stepped forward. We've already sent units to her apartment and to your office, Mr. Okafor. But I need to warn you, someone this sophisticated probably has an exit strategy. As if on cue, the sergeant's radio crackled. Suspect's apartment is empty. Looks like she cleared out this morning. We've issued an alert to all airports and border crossings. Amara felt a cold certainty settle over her. Adeola was gone. She'd planned this perfectly, sabotage the flight, make it look like mechanical failure, and disappear with millions while Chidi's company drowned in scandal and investigation. The fact that the malware had been discovered was the only thing that had disrupted her plan. But who had sent Amara those emails? Who had been watching Adeola closely enough to film her planting the flash drive? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Do you think Adeola will get caught? Drop your predictions in the comments below and share this story with someone who loves a good revenge tale. The Okafor mansion in Ikoyi sat on 3 acres of prime Lagos real estate, surrounded by high walls and security cameras. Amara had once loved this house, with its marble floors and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a perfectly manicured garden. Now, stepping through the front door with Zainab asleep in her arms, it felt like a prison she'd been sentenced back to. Chidi hovered behind her, desperate and useless. Mama Okafor had retired to her wing without a word, shame hanging around her like a shroud. Emeka had gone straight to Chidi's office to assess the damage to the company's files. Ngozi, bless her, helped Amara put Zainab to bed in the nursery. The little girl had finally cried herself to sleep during the drive home, exhausted by the trauma of the day. As Amara pulled the blanket up to her daughter's chin, her phone buzzed. Another message from the anonymous sender. Meet me tomorrow. 10 a.m. Eco Hotel Rooftop Bar. Come alone. I'll tell you everything about Adela's plan, and who else is involved. You're not safe in that house. Amara's blood chilled. Who else is involved? She'd assumed Adeola had been working alone, maybe with an outside contact helping with the technical aspects. But what if the conspiracy went deeper? What if someone in the Okafor family had been helping her? Ngozi touched her arm. You okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. I might have, Amara murmured. She showed Ngozi the message. Her friend's eyes widened. This could be a trap. What if Adeola sent this to lure you somewhere? Or what if it's someone who can help me protect Zainab? Amara countered. Ngozi, someone has been watching everything. They filmed Adeola in Chidi's office. They have bank statements. They knew about the malware before it activated. That's not random. That's surveillance. Professional surveillance. Private investigator? Ngozi suggested. Maybe. Or law enforcement. Or, Amara paused, a terrible thought occurring to her, someone else who Adeola betrayed. They sat in silence for a moment, listening to Zainab's soft breathing. Finally, Ngozi said, "If you go, I'm going with you." The message said alone. And I say screw that. You're not meeting some mysterious stranger on a rooftop without backup. I'll stay out of sight, but I'll be there. Amara nodded gratefully. She didn't know what she'd do without Ngozi. They'd been friends since university, had survived heartbreaks and triumphs together. Ngozi had been the maid of honor at her wedding, despite having reservations about Chidi from the start. "You were right about him," Amara said softly. "You told me he was too controlling. That his mother would make my life hell. I didn't listen." "You were in love," Ngozi said simply. "We all make mistakes when we're in love. The question is, what do you do now?" Before Amara could answer, shouting erupted from downstairs. Male voices, angry and overlapping. She and Ngozi exchanged glances and hurried out of the nursery, careful not to wake Zainab. In Chidi's office, they found chaos. Emeka had his laptop open, his face pale with shock. Chidi was on his phone, barking orders at someone. Papers were scattered across the mahogany desk. "What happened?" Amara asked from the doorway. Chidi looked up, and she saw raw fear in his eyes. "The government contract. It's gone. All the files, all the proposals, everything. Deleted. And there's something worse." He turned his laptop around. On the screen was an email from the Minister of Technology's office, dated earlier that day. "They've launched an investigation into Okafor Innovations for alleged corruption and bribery." "What?" Amara moved closer. "That's insane. You won that contract legitimately." "Tell that to the investigators who are coming tomorrow morning," Emeka said bitterly. "Someone sent them falsified documents showing kickbacks and offshore accounts. It's all fake, but it looks real enough to destroy us." Amara's mind raced. Adeola. "It has to be," Chidi agreed. "She had access to everything. She could have created false trails, planted evidence. By the time we prove it's fabricated, the damage will be done. Our clients will abandon us. Our stock will crash. We'll lose everything." "She's been planning this for months," Amara said slowly. "The pieces were coming together now. She seduced you to get close. She convinced you I was unfaithful so you'd be distracted, emotional, easy to manipulate. She isolated me so I couldn't warn you or help you. And she planted malware to kill you during the flight, making it look like an accident, so she could waltz in as the grieving employee and take control of the company." "But why crash the plane?" Ngozi asked. "If he's dead, she can't control the company." "Insurance," Emeka said quietly. He pulled up another document. 3 months ago, Chidi updated his will. Adeola helped him with the paperwork. She's listed as the executor of his business assets if something happens to him before Zainab turns 18. The room fell silent. Amara felt sick. "You made your mistress the executor of your will?" "She wasn't my mistress," Chidi said, but his voice lacked conviction. We never." "Liar," Amara said flatly. She pulled up the photos on her phone, the ones from the anonymous email, and thrust them at Chidi. "Adeola and you, Transcorp Hilton Abuja, 6 months ago. The Grand Ibadan Hotel, 8 months ago. Should I continue?" Chidi stared at the photos, his face crumbling. "I was drunk. It only happened a few times. It meant nothing." "It meant enough for her to destroy your entire life," Amara shot back. "How long, Chidi? How long were you sleeping with her while I was home raising your daughter?" 2 years, he whispered. "On and off. Mostly when I traveled for business." "I'm sorry, Amara. I'm so sorry." Amara wanted to scream. She wanted to throw something at his head. But more than that, She wanted answers. The person who sent me the evidence, they've been watching all of you. They want to meet me tomorrow. They say there are others involved. Chitty's head snapped up. Who? I don't know yet. But I'm going to find out. Amara turned to leave. Wait. Chitty grabbed her arm. You can't go alone. If Adeola has partners, they might hurt you. Amara pulled free. Like you hurt me? Like you humiliated me in front of everyone? Like you threw me off a plane and took my daughter away? Her voice rose with each word. I've been in danger since the day I married you, Chitty. The difference is now I know it. She walked out, Ngozi following close behind. Behind them, they heard something crash, Chitty's fist meeting his desk, probably, followed by a roar of anguish that echoed through the mansion. In the guest room where Amara had decided to sleep, far from the master bedroom she'd once shared with Chitty, she collapsed onto the bed. The events of the day crashed over her like a wave. Betrayal. Infidelity. Attempted murder. Conspiracy. It was too much. But then she thought of Zainab, sleeping peacefully down the hall, unaware of how close she'd come to losing her mother. To losing everything. Amara couldn't afford to fall apart. Not yet. She had to be strong. She had to be smart. She had to protect her daughter from the vipers circling their family. Her phone buzzed again. Another message from the anonymous sender. Don't trust anyone in that house. The betrayal is closer than you think. Sleep with your door locked. Amara's hands trembled as she stood and turned the lock. Then she pushed a chair under the doorknob for good measure. Through the walls, she could hear Mama Okafor's voice, raised in anger, arguing with someone. Chitty. Emeka. She couldn't tell. Ngozi lay down beside her, fully dressed. I'm not leaving you alone tonight, she said firmly. Amara took her friend's hand. Thank you. They lay in the dark, two women trying to make sense of a world that had turned upside down in a single day. Outside, Lagos hummed with its usual chaos, millions of people living their lives, unaware that in one mansion in Ikoyi, a family was tearing itself apart from the inside. And somewhere out there, Adeola was laughing, counting her stolen millions, believing she'd won. But she hadn't counted on one thing. A mother's rage is a force of nature. And Amara was just getting started. Comment below what you think about Chitty's betrayal. Should Amara forgive him? And who do you think is the mysterious person helping her? Don't forget to share this story. The Eco Hotel rooftop bar overlooked the Atlantic Ocean, its infinity pool reflecting the morning sun like liquid gold. Amara sat at a corner table, sunglasses hiding her sleepless eyes, watching the elevator doors. Ngozi was positioned 3 tables away, pretending to read a magazine but watching everything. At exactly 10 a.m., a woman emerged from the elevator. She was in her early 50s, elegant in a navy business suit, her hair cut in a sharp bob. She walked directly to Amara's table and sat down without asking permission. Mrs. Okafor, the woman said, extending her hand. My name is Funmilayo Adeyemi. I'm a forensic accountant. And for the past 6 months, I've been investigating your husband's company. Amara's heart skipped. You're with the government? No, Funmilayo said. I'm with Okafor Innovations Board of Directors. Or rather, I was hired by 3 board members who suspected something was wrong with the company's finances. We didn't know about Adeola specifically. We thought perhaps your husband was embezzling. Chitty isn't stealing from his own company, Amara said defensively, then caught herself. Why was she defending him? I know that now, Funmilayo agreed. She pulled out a tablet and opened a file. But 6 months ago, all evidence pointed to him. Money disappearing. False contracts. Offshore accounts in his name. I was building a case against him when I started noticing patterns that didn't fit. What kind of patterns? The transactions were too clean. Too obvious. Like someone wanted us to find them and blame Chitty. Funmilayo swiped through documents. So I dug deeper. I found Adeola. She's been running a long con for years. She's not even Nigerian. Amara's breath caught. What? Her real name is Michelle Dubois. She's Cameroonian, from Douala. She's wanted in 3 countries for corporate fraud. She infiltrates companies, seduces executives, steals intellectual property and money, then disappears. Funmaleo turned the tablet around. On the screen was a police report from South Africa. The photo showed Adeola, or Michelle, with different hair but the same face. She did this in Johannesburg 2 years ago, Funmaleo continued. A tech company, similar to your husband's. The CEO fell in love with her. She embezzled 30 million rand and nearly caused a plane crash that killed the executive board. Sound familiar? Amara felt dizzy. It's the same playbook. Exactly. She finds successful men, preferably ones with airplanes or private jets, isolates them from their partners, and then stages accidents while making herself the beneficiary. In South Africa, she failed because the plane never took off due to weather. In Kenya before that, she succeeded. 4 people died. Funmaleo's voice was grim. Your husband was next. But you stopped her. How did you know about the malware? I didn't. Not specifically. But I'd been monitoring her movements. I saw her enter the hangar with fake credentials yesterday morning. I filmed her but didn't know what she'd done until I heard about the aborted takeoff. Funmaleo leaned forward. Mrs. Okafor, Amara, you're in danger. Michelle has never left a witness alive. Everyone who's discovered her identity has died. Car accidents. Muggings. 1 woman fell off her balcony. You sent me those emails. Yes. I needed you to see the truth before it was too late. I knew Chitty wouldn't believe me without proof. He was too far under her spell. Funmaleo paused. But there's something worse. Michelle doesn't work alone. Amara's stomach dropped. Who's helping her? That's what I need to figure out. Someone inside the Okafor family has been feeding her information. Someone with access to legal documents, wills, company secrets. Someone who wanted you out of the picture as much as she did. Mama Okafor, Amara whispered. The pieces clicked into place. She never liked me. She thought I was too poor, too unsophisticated. She kept pushing Chitty to spend time with Michelle. She suggested Adeola become executor of the will. It's possible, Funmaleo said carefully. But it could also be someone else. Emeka. A cousin. Someone on the board. We need proof. How do we get it? Funmaleo smiled, and it was a predator's smile. We set a trap. Michelle thinks she's won. She's gotten away with millions. But she's greedy. She'll want more. And she'll need her inside contact to get it. Over the next hour, Funmaleo laid out a plan. It was risky. It required Amara to return to the mansion and pretend everything was normal. To stay married to a man who'd betrayed her, at least temporarily. To watch and listen and gather evidence against whoever was helping Michelle destroy their lives. I can't do this, Amara said finally. I can't pretend to forgive him. I can't sleep under the same roof with people who might want me dead. You can, Funmaleo said firmly. Because the alternative is Michelle gets away with murder. She kills someone else's family. Someone else's child. Can you live with that? Amara thought of Zainab. She thought of the other families Michelle had destroyed. She thought of the 4 people who died in Kenya because no one had stopped this woman in time. What do you need me to do? She asked. Back at the mansion, Amara found Chitty in his office, surrounded by lawyers. The government investigators had come and gone, seizing documents and computers. The house felt violated, like a crime scene, which in many ways it was. Amara, Chitty stood when she entered. The lawyers politely excused themselves. Where did you go? I was worried. I needed air, Amara said. I needed to think. I understand. He looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes. His usually pristine appearance disheveled. The lawyers say we might be able to fight the corruption charges, but it will take months. Maybe years. The damage to the company is already done. Stock dropped 40% this morning. 3 major clients pulled their contracts. I'm sorry, Amara said, and meant it. Despite everything, she didn't want to see him destroyed. Not like this. I don't deserve your sympathy, Chitty said quietly. I destroyed our marriage. I let that woman poison my mind against you. I threw you off a plane, Amara. In front of everyone. How can you even look at me? Because we have a daughter who needs both her parents, Amara said. And because the woman who did this to us is still out there. She's going to do it again to someone else unless we stop her. Chitty's jaw tightened. The police are looking for her. They have alerts at every airport and border. She's a professional. She'll have fake passports, false identities. She's done this before. Amara moved closer, lowering her voice. Chitty, she had help. Someone inside this family has been feeding her information. Someone wanted me gone as badly as she did. His face paled. You can't be serious. Think about it. How did she know about your travel schedule? How did she get access to your will documents? How did she know exactly what to say to turn you against me? Amara watched his face carefully. Someone in this house has been helping her. Chitty sank into his chair. Who? I don't know yet. But we're going to find out. Amara pulled out her phone and showed him a photo Funmaleo had sent. This is Michelle Dubois. That's Adela's real name. She's wanted in South Africa, Kenya, and Cameroon for fraud and murder. She specializes in targeting wealthy men with private planes. Chitty stared at the police report, his hands shaking. I slept with a killer. You did. And she almost killed your daughter. Amara's voice was cold. Now we're going to find out who helped her. And we're going to make sure she never hurts anyone again. A sound from the doorway made them both turn. Mama Okafor stood there, her face unreadable. So it's true, she said softly. Everything I heard. Adeola was using us. How long have you been standing there? Amara demanded. Long enough. Mama Okafor entered the office, closing the door behind her. She looked older suddenly, the weight of guilt aging her in real time. I pushed them together. I told Chitty that Adeola was better suited for him than you. I believed her when she said your child wasn't his. I helped her destroy my own family. Why? The word came out as a whisper. Why did you hate me so much? Mama Okafor's eyes filled with tears. Because you reminded me of myself. Young. Or in love with a man whose family thought I wasn't good enough. I spent 40 years proving myself to the Okafor family, sacrificing everything to fit their standards. And when my son brought home a girl just like I had been, I saw all my struggles again. I didn't want that life for him. I didn't want him to have to fight like his father, and I fought. So you tried to destroy his marriage instead, Amara said bitterly. I thought I was protecting him. I thought Adeola was sophisticated, polished, perfect. I was a fool. Mama Okafor reached into her wrapper and pulled out a phone. This is Adela's work phone. She left it here yesterday morning. I found it in the guest room. I've been reading through it. Chitty grabbed the phone. As he scrolled through, his face went white. These messages. They're between Adeola and someone called the partner. They're planning everything. The malware. The fake corruption charges. Even which accounts to drain first. Who is the partner? Amara asked, moving to look over his shoulder. The number isn't saved, Mama Okafor said. But look at the last message. It was sent this morning. Chitty read aloud, Phase 2 complete. Government investigation launched. OI stock crashing. Meet me at the usual place tonight to finalize extraction. Bring the remaining files and we'll disappear together. The usual place, Amara murmured. Where would that be? I might know, Emeka said from the doorway. They all jumped. None of them had heard him approach. I found something in the company's server logs. Someone's been accessing files remotely for months. Always between midnight and 2 a.m. Always from the same IP address. Can you trace it? Chitty asked. Already did. It's a hotel. The Wheat Baker in Ikoyi. Room 412. Emeka's face was grim. That room has been rented continuously for the past 6 months under a corporate account. Okafor Innovations corporate account. The room fell silent. Someone had been using company money to maintain a secret apartment less than 2 miles from the mansion. Someone who needed a place to meet with Michelle without being seen. We need to go there, Amara said. Tonight. Before they meet. It's too dangerous, Chitty protested. If it's Michelle and this partner, they could hurt you. Then come with me, Amara challenged. Bring security. Bring the police. But we're not letting them disappear. Not after what they've done. Chitty looked at his mother, then at his brother, then back at Amara. Finally, he nodded. We'll go. But we do this smart. We get the police involved. We set up surveillance. And you, he pointed at Amara, stay in the car with armed security. Absolutely not, Amara said. I'm going in. I'm seeing this through. Amara. They tried to kill my daughter, Chitty. They took everything from me. My marriage. My dignity. My sense of safety. I'm not hiding in a car while you play hero. I'm going in, and you can't stop me. Before Chitty could argue further, Mama Okafor spoke. She's right. This is her fight as much as ours. We stand together. As a family. She met Amara's eyes. If you'll still call us family after what I've done. Amara wanted to say no. She wanted to tell this woman exactly how much pain she'd caused. But looking at Mama Okafor's face, she saw genuine remorse. And more than that, she saw an opportunity. If Mama Okafor truly wanted to make amends, she could help them catch Michelle and her mysterious partner. Family stands together, Amara said finally. Even when it's hard. Even when we've hurt each other. But this ends tonight. No more secrets. No more lies. They spent the rest of the day planning. Chitty contacted his lawyer, who contacted the police. A detective named Okonkwo agreed to set up surveillance at the Wheat Baker Hotel. They would watch room 412. When Michelle and the partner arrived, they would move in. As evening fell, Amara sat in Zainab's nursery, watching her daughter play with blocks. The little girl was blissfully unaware of the danger that had surrounded her. She laughed as she knocked down her tower, ready to build again. Resilient. Innocent. Perfect. I won't let anyone hurt you, Amara whispered. Not ever again. Ngozi appeared in the doorway. It's time. The police are in position. Chitty's waiting downstairs. Amara kissed Zainab's forehead and handed her to the nanny, a woman who'd been with the family for years and had been cleared by Detective Okonkwo. Then she and Ngozi headed downstairs. In the foyer, Chitty stood with Emeka and 2 private security guards. Mama Okafor had insisted on coming too. They made an unlikely team, a broken family united by the need for justice. The drive to the Wheat Baker took 15 minutes through evening traffic. The hotel was upscale modern, the kind of place where wealthy Lagosians conducted discreet affairs. Amara felt sick thinking about how many times Michelle had brought Chitty here, how many lies had been told within these walls. Detective Okonkwo met them in the parking garage. He was a tall man with graying temples and sharp eyes. Room 412 shows activity, he reported. Someone entered 20 minutes ago. We have officers positioned on the floor and covering all exits. Is it her? Chitty asked. Is it Michelle? We can't confirm identity yet without confronting them. But whoever it is, they're trapped. Okonkwo looked at Amara. Mrs. Okafor, I need you to stay back when we breach the room. This could get dangerous. I understand, Amara lied. They took the service elevator to the 4th floor. Amara's heart pounded so hard she thought everyone could hear it. Down the carpeted hallway, past rooms where normal people lived normal lives, unaware of the drama unfolding doors away. Room 412 was at the end of the hall. Light showed under the door. Voices murmured inside, two people arguing in hushed tones. Okonkwo positioned his officers, guns drawn. He gestured for the family to stay back, then knocked sharply on the door. Lagos State Police. Open up. The voices inside went silent. Footsteps approached. The door opened a crack, and a man's face appeared. Amara's world tilted. She knew that face. She'd seen it across dinner tables, at family celebrations, at her wedding. It was Emeka. But Emeka was standing right beside her. The man at the door was Emeka's twin brother, Obinna. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Who saw that twist coming? Drop your reactions in the comments and share this with your friends who love shocking plot twists. The door exploded inward as Detective Okonkwo's team breached the room. Obinna tried to run, but officers tackled him within seconds. From inside the room, a woman's scream pierced the air, followed by the sound of something crashing. Amara pushed past the officers, ignoring Okonkwo's shout to stay back. Inside the hotel room, she found chaos. Michelle, dressed in jeans and a wig, was trying to climb out the window onto the fire escape. Two officers grabbed her, pulling her back inside as she kicked and screamed in French. "Let me go. You have no right. I've done nothing wrong," Michelle shouted, her accent slipping, revealing her Cameroonian roots. On the floor, Obinna lay face down in handcuffs. The room was scattered with open suitcases filled with cash, laptops, and documents. On the bed, Amara saw passports, at least 8 of them, each with Michelle's photo but different names and nationalities. Chidi pushed into the room behind Amara, Emeka right with him. When Emeka saw his twin brother on the floor, his face went through a series of emotions. Shock, denial, and finally, heartbroken understanding. "Obi," Emeka whispered. "What have you done?" Obinna turned his head, and Amara saw tears streaming down his face. "What I had to do. What you never had the courage to do." "I don't understand," Chidi said, looking between the twins. "Obi, you're supposed to be in London. You've been at graduate school for 3 years." "There is no graduate school," Obinna spat. "There never was. I've been right here in Lagos, watching you give everything to Emeka while I got nothing. The company position, the respect, the family inheritance. All because I was born 12 minutes after him." Emeka staggered backward like he'd been slapped. "We're twins. Father left us equal shares." "Equal shares of nothing compared to what you got," Obinna snarled. "You're Chidi's right hand. His trusted advisor. You'll inherit a stake in Okafor Innovations." "What did I get?" "A stipend and a pat on the head and orders to stay out of the way." Mama Okafor pushed into the room. When she saw Obinna, she gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. "No. No, this cannot be. Obinna, you're my nephew. We paid for your education. We gave you everything. You gave me scraps." Obinna shouted. While Chidi built an empire and Emeka stood beside him, I was expected to be grateful for charity. So when Michelle found me 6 months ago and offered me a partnership, I took it. Finally, someone saw my worth. Detective Okonkwo motioned for his officers to pull Obinna to his feet. "Obinna Okafor, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud, attempted murder, and corporate espionage." "Murder?" Chidi's voice cracked. "Obi, you tried to kill us?" "I tried to kill him." Obinna jerked his head toward Chidi. "Michelle was supposed to trigger the malware when you were over the Atlantic. A tragic accident. The company would have gone to Emeka, but with the corruption investigation Michelle planted, he would have been forced to sell quickly. We had buyers lined up, ready to pay pennies on the dollar. Then Michelle and I would disappear to Dubai with $50 million. "But what about Mama?" Emeka asked, his voice breaking. "What about Zainab? They were on that plane too." Obinna's face hardened. "Collateral damage. Michelle said it had to look real. An accident can't be selective." Amara felt rage unlike anything she'd ever experienced flood through her body. She stepped forward and slapped Obinna across the face with all her strength. The crack echoed through the room. "You would have killed a 3-year-old child for money?" Obinna's lip was bleeding, but he smiled cruelly. "Your bastard child isn't my concern." "She's his daughter," Amara gestured to Chitty. "Anyone with eyes can see it. But Michelle convinced you otherwise because she needed you angry. She needed you resentful. She played you like a puppet." "That's not true," Obinna said, but his voice wavered. "Michelle loves me. We're partners." Michelle, now handcuffed and held by 2 officers, laughed. It was a cold, bitter sound. "Partners? You stupid boy. You were a mark, just like your cousin. Another greedy man easy to manipulate. Did you really think I'd share 50 million with you? I was going to kill you tonight. Your body would have been found in this room, an apparent suicide, devastated by guilt over your crimes. I'd have been in Cameroon by morning." The color drained from Obinna's face. "You're lying." "Am I?" Michelle's smile was venomous. "Check the minibar. 3rd bottle from the left. Whiskey laced with enough sleeping pills to stop your heart. I was going to toast our success and watch you die. Then I'd stage the scene, make it look like you'd done everything alone, and disappear." One of the officers checked. He pulled out a bottle of expensive whiskey and a box of prescription sleeping pills. "She's telling the truth. This is enough medication to kill someone twice his size." Obinna made a sound like a wounded animal. All his bravado crumbled. He'd been willing to murder his own family for money and the approval of a woman who'd planned to kill him all along. The magnitude of his betrayal, and how thoroughly he'd been betrayed in return, seemed to hit him all at once. "I'm sorry," he whispered, looking at Emeka. "Brother, I'm so sorry." Emeka turned away, unable to look at his twin. The pain on his face was unbearable to witness. They'd shared a womb, a childhood, a lifetime of memories. And Obinna had been willing to destroy all of it for greed and jealousy. Detective Okonkwo's team began bagging evidence. Laptops containing company secrets. Documents showing offshore accounts. Cash in multiple currencies. And most damning, a detailed timeline of their plan, written in Obinna's handwriting, showing every step of the conspiracy from seducing Chitty to staging the plane crash. "This is premeditated murder," Okonkwo said grimly. "You're both looking at life imprisonment." As the officers led Michelle and Obinna out, Michelle looked back at Amara. Her eyes were cold, calculating, even in defeat. "You think you've won," she said softly. "You think your marriage will survive this? He still cheated on you. He still threw you off a plane. You can catch me, punish me, but you'll never forget what he did. I've already destroyed you." Amara met her gaze steadily. "You're wrong. You didn't destroy me. You showed me who I really am. I'm stronger than you ever realized. And unlike you, I have something you'll never understand. I have people who actually love me. You'll die alone in a prison cell. I'll live free with my daughter." "Who really won?" Michelle's face twisted with rage, but before she could respond, the officers dragged her away. Her screams echoed down the hallway, cursing in French and English, promising revenge she'd never be able to deliver. When they were gone, the family stood in the hotel room surrounded by the wreckage of Obinna's betrayal. Mama Okafor was weeping softly. Emeka stared at the wall, his face blank with shock. Chitty looked at Amara with an expression she couldn't quite read. "It's over," he said finally. "They're caught. The company can recover. We can prove the corruption charges were false." "Is it over?" Amara asked quietly. "Your cousin tried to murder us. Your secretary, your lover, manipulated everyone. Your mother helped isolate me. And you chose to believe lies over your own wife. Is that really over?" Chitty flinched. "I know I can't fix what I've done, but I'm asking for a chance to try. For Zainab's sake if nothing else." Amara looked at this man she'd once loved completely. She saw the remorse in his eyes. She also saw the weakness that had allowed him to betray her in the first place. Could people really change? Could trust, once shattered, ever be fully restored? "I don't know," she said honestly. "I don't know if I can forgive you. I don't know if I can ever trust you again. But I know Zainab deserves to have her father in her life. So we'll figure out how to co-parent. How to be civil. But us, our marriage, that's not something I can answer right now." "I understand," Chitty said, though his voice was thick with pain. "Whatever you need. Whatever timeline you need. I'll wait." Funmaleo appeared in the doorway, having been monitoring the police operation from a surveillance van. "Mrs. Okafor, there's someone you need to call. A lawyer. Because Michelle is right about one thing. This is going to get complicated. The company, the assets, the custody arrangements. You need to protect yourself and your daughter." Amara nodded. She'd been so focused on catching the criminals that she hadn't thought about the aftermath. The legal battles. The public scandal. The media coverage. Tomorrow, their family's drama would be splashed across every Nigerian newspaper and gossip blog. The whispers. The judgment. The endless questions. But tonight, her daughter was safe. The people who tried to hurt them were in custody. And Amara had proven to herself that she was more than just a wife and mother. She was a survivor. A fighter. Someone who could stand in the wreckage of her life and start building something new. As they left the hotel, Amara looked up at the Lagos skyline. Millions of lights twinkled in the darkness, each one representing a life, a story, a family navigating their own challenges. She wasn't alone in her pain. And somehow, that made it more bearable. Her phone buzzed. A message from the nanny, "Zainab asking for you. She won't sleep until you come home." Such a complicated word now. But wherever her daughter was, that was home. Everything else, the mansion, the money, the family name, that was just background noise. "Take me to my daughter," Amara told the driver. And as they pulled away from the Wheatbaker Hotel, leaving behind the scene of so much betrayal, Amara felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. What would you do in Amara's situation? Could you forgive a cheating spouse? Comment your thoughts below and don't forget to like this video if you're invested in this story. 3 months later, Amara sat in her new apartment in Victoria Island, sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the Lagos Lagoon. It was smaller than the Ikoyi mansion, but it was hers. She'd signed the lease with money from her own bank account, earned from the cybersecurity consulting firm she'd launched 6 weeks earlier. Turns out, when a woman stops a major corporate espionage case and helps catch international criminals, companies notice. Amara's phone hadn't stopped ringing with job offers. She'd chosen independence instead, opening Sentinel Solutions with Funmaleo Adeyemi as her business partner. Zainab played in the corner with blocks, singing a nonsense song about airplanes and clouds. The trauma of that day had faded for her, the way childhood trauma sometimes does, leaving only vague memories of confusion and fear. A child psychologist had worked with her, and now Zainab was thriving, happy, resilient. "Mama, look." Zainab held up a tower. "It's tall like the building where Daddy works." Amara smiled. "It's beautiful, baby. Daddy." Despite everything, Amara had made sure Zainab maintained a relationship with Chitty. Court-ordered DNA testing had proven beyond any doubt that he was her biological father. The results had arrived 2 weeks after Michelle and Obinna's arrest. Chitty had wept when he saw them, 99.9% probability of paternity printed in black and white. All those months of doubt, all that pain, based on lies. The doorbell rang. Ngozi let herself in, carrying takeout from their favorite spot. "Jollof rice and plantain for my favorite goddaughter," she announced, setting bags on the kitchen counter. "And wine for us because we deserve it." "It's 2 p.m., Amara laughed. "And we're business owners. We make our own rules." Ngozi poured 2 glasses. "Plus, we're celebrating. I heard from Detective Okonkwo. The trial date is set. 6 months from now." Amara's smile faded slightly. The trial. She'd have to face Michelle and Obinna again. She'd have to testify about the betrayal, the infidelity, the attempted murder. Her family's dysfunction would be dissected in public, every shameful detail exposed for the world to judge. "You okay?" Ngozi touched her arm. "I will be," Amara said. "It's just a lot. The divorce proceedings. The custody battle. The business. The trial. Sometimes I wake up and can't believe this is my life now." "Your life now is pretty amazing," Ngozi pointed out. "You have your own company. Your own place. Your daughter is happy and healthy. You're not dependent on anyone." "I know. You're right." Amara sipped her wine. "It's just lonely sometimes. I spent 7 years with Chidi. Even when it was bad, I wasn't alone." "You're not alone now. You have me. You have Funmaleo. You have clients who respect you. And you have a daughter who thinks you hung the moon." Ngozi raised her glass. "To new beginnings. To women who rebuild themselves after betrayal. To us." They clinked glasses. Zainab ran over, wanting juice, and Amara poured her some apple juice in a sippy cup. As her daughter ran back to her blocks, Amara's phone buzzed. "A message from Chidi. Can I come by this evening? I want to drop off Zainab's birthday present early and discuss the custody schedule." Amara sighed. The custody arrangement was still being worked out. For now, Chidi had supervised visitation twice a week. He was fighting for joint custody, and Amara's lawyer said he'd probably get it eventually. Despite his betrayal, he was still Zainab's father. The courts wouldn't deny him access unless he was dangerous, and whatever else he was, Chidi loved his daughter. She typed back, 7 p.m. "Don't be late." That evening, after Ngozi left and Zainab was fed and bathed, the doorbell rang at exactly 7 o'clock. Chidi stood in the hallway holding a massive teddy bear and a gift bag. He looked different, thinner, older. The stress of the past months had marked him. "Hi," he said awkwardly. "Come in." Amara stepped aside. "But just for a few minutes. It's almost her bedtime." "Daddy!" Zainab squealed, running to him. Chidi scooped her up, burying his face in her hair. The love between them was obvious, painful to watch. This was what Michelle had tried to destroy. This pure connection between father and daughter. They sat in the living room while Zainab opened her present. It was an elaborate dollhouse, handcrafted wood with tiny furniture. Zainab's eyes went wide with delight. "It's like our old house," she said, recognizing the architectural style. "It is like our old house," Chidi agreed, his voice thick. He looked at Amara. "I wanted her to have something to remember the good times. Before everything fell apart." "Were there good times?" Amara tried to remember. Yes, she supposed there were. Early in their marriage, before Michelle's poison took root. Family dinners. Lazy Sundays. Laughter. It seemed like another lifetime ago. After Zainab went to play with her new dollhouse in her room, Chidi and Amara sat across from each other. The silence stretched uncomfortably. "The company is recovering," Chidi said finally. "The corruption charges were dropped once we proved everything was fabricated. Our stock is back up. Clients are returning. Emeka and I have been working 18-hour days, but we're turning it around." "That's good," Amara said politely. "Mama moved out," Chidi continued. "She got her own place. She said she couldn't stay in the mansion knowing what she'd done. She asks about you and Zainab every day. I'm not ready to talk to her yet." "I understand. I told her that." Chidi leaned forward. "Amara, I know I have no right to ask this, but I miss you. I miss us. Is there any chance?" "No," Amara cut him off firmly. "Chidi, you slept with another woman for 2 years. You believed her when she said I'd cheated. You threw me off a plane. You took my daughter away from me. I've forgiven you for Zainab's sake, but I will never forget. We're not getting back together. What if I prove myself?" His voice was desperate. "What if I spend years showing you I've changed? What if? Then you'll have been a good father to your daughter and a decent co-parent to me," Amara said. That's all I can offer you. The divorce papers are ready. I'm filing next week. Chitty's face crumpled. I love you. You loved yourself more, Amara said softly. You loved your ego, your pride, your pleasure. If you'd loved me, truly loved me, you would have trusted me. You would have protected me. You didn't. I was weak. Michelle manipulated me. Obi manipulated me. Yes, they did. And you let them because somewhere deep down, it was easier to believe I wasn't good enough than to believe you'd made a mistake choosing me over your mother's objections. You wanted an excuse to feel justified in your affair. Amara stood. I think you should go now. Chitty rose slowly. At the door, he turned back. For what it's worth, you were always good enough. You were too good for me. I see that now. Goodbye, Chitty. After he left, Amara leaned against the door, breathing hard. It hurt. Even knowing she was making the right choice, it hurt. 7 years of marriage. Dreams of growing old together. All destroyed by betrayal and lies. Her phone rang. Funmileo. Am I interrupting? No, actually, your timing is perfect. What's up? I just got some interesting information from my contacts. Michelle is trying to cut a deal. She's offering to testify against Obinna in exchange for a reduced sentence. Can she do that? Maybe. If she provides evidence against bigger fish. Apparently, Obinna wasn't her only partner. She had connections to organized crime syndicates operating across West Africa. Corporate espionage is bigger than we thought. The authorities want those connections more than they want her. Amara felt cold. So she might get away with it? After everything. Not get away. But maybe 20 years instead of life. And here's the thing, Amara. She's claiming you knew about the plan all along. She's saying you helped her target Chitty for his money. What? Amara's voice rose. That's insane. I'm the one who stopped her. I know. But she's desperate, and she's dangerous even from behind bars. Her lawyers are good. They're building a narrative where you're the mastermind who turned on her when things went wrong. It's absurd, but it could create reasonable doubt for her defense. Amara sank onto her couch, her mind reeling. Would this nightmare ever end? What do I do? You fight. You tell your truth. And you trust that justice will prevail. Funmileo paused. But Amara, I'm not going to lie to you. This is going to get ugly. Michelle is going scorched earth. She's going to drag your name through the mud because she has nothing left to lose. After the call ended, Amara sat in the darkness of her living room. Through the window, Lagos glittered like a living thing. Somewhere out there, Michelle sat in a prison cell plotting revenge. Somewhere, Obinna did the same. Somewhere, Chitty probably sat in his empty mansion, drowning in regret. And here, in this small apartment, Amara sat with her daughter sleeping in the next room, wondering how much more she'd have to endure before this was truly over. The physical danger had passed. But the legal battle, the reputational war, that was just beginning. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I know what you're going through. I survived Michelle too. The woman she destroyed in Kenya before you. I can help you prepare for trial. Please call me. You're not alone in this. Amara stared at the message. Another victim. Another survivor. Another woman who'd been torn apart by Michelle's schemes and lived to tell about it. She saved the number and made a mental note to call tomorrow. For tonight, she just wanted to sit in the darkness and breathe. To remember that she'd survived this long. To trust that she'd survive whatever came next. Because she had to. Zainab needed her. And Amara refused to let Michelle Dubois, even from behind bars, take anything more from her. The game wasn't over. But Amara was done playing by anyone else's rules. Are you Team Amara? Should she have given Chitty another chance? Comment your thoughts below. And if you're loving this story, smash that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear about strong women who refuse to break. The phone call with Rebecca Wanjiru, Michelle's Kenyan victim, changed everything. Rebecca was a software engineer from Nairobi, brilliant and successful until Michelle had targeted her husband's aviation company. Unlike Amara, Rebecca hadn't been able to stop the crash in time. Her husband and 3 business partners had died when their plane went down over the Rift Valley. The investigation had initially ruled it mechanical failure. It took 2 years and Rebecca's relentless investigation to prove sabotage. "She's playing the same game she always does," Rebecca told Amara over video call. "She was a beautiful woman with wise, sad eyes. She'll claim you were jealous, vengeful, desperate. She'll say you planted the malware yourself to frame her. She'll make you look unstable. But the evidence won't matter if the jury thinks you're a scorned woman out for revenge," Rebecca interrupted. "I'm telling you, Amara, I've been through this. Michelle's lawyers are experts at flipping narratives. By the time they're done, you'll be the villain and she'll be the victim of your schemes." Amara felt sick. "So what do I do?" "You get ahead of it. You control your story before she controls it for you. And I'm going to help you. I've testified against her before. I know her tactics. I know her lawyer's playbook. Together, we can make sure the truth comes out." Over the next weeks, Rebecca became Amara's lifeline. She flew to Lagos twice, helping Amara prepare testimony, teaching her how to stay calm under cross-examination, explaining how Michelle's defense team would try to twist every word. It was exhausting, terrifying, empowering. But the real bombshell came in week 3 of their preparation. Rebecca was going through Amara's case files when she stopped suddenly, her face going pale. "What?" Amara asked. "What did you find?" "The prosecutor in Michelle's Kenyan case. The one who let her walk on reduced charges. He disappeared 2 years ago." Rebecca's hands were shaking. They never found his body. It was ruled a random carjacking, but there was never any proof. "You think Michelle?" "I think anyone who threatens to put her away permanently has a habit of disappearing." Rebecca met Amara's eyes. "You need protection. Real protection. Not just home security. Personal security. For you and Zainab." That evening, Amara hired 2 bodyguards recommended by Detective Okonkwo. Retired police officers, experienced and discreet. It felt surreal, like she was living in an action movie instead of her real life. But the threat was real. Michelle had killed before. She'd kill again if she thought it would save her from life imprisonment. The next morning, Amara took Zainab to preschool with her bodyguard, Tund, following 3 steps behind. The other mothers stared. Amara ignored them. Let them gossip. Her daughter's safety mattered more than social comfort. At her office, Funmaleo was waiting with grim news. "Michelle's lawyers filed a motion to have you declared a hostile witness. They're arguing you have vendetta motivations and your testimony is unreliable." "Can they do that?" "They can try. The judge will decide." Funmaleo poured coffee for both of them. "But there's more. Someone leaked your divorce filing to the press. It's all over the blogs. The cheating. The plane incident. Everything." Amara's phone started buzzing with notifications. She opened Instagram to find her private account had been hacked. Photos of her and Zainab were now public. Comments poured in, some supportive, most vicious. "Gold digger finally got caught. She probably was cheating. Poor rich man, trapped by a village girl." "Turn it off," Funmaleo said gently. "Don't read them. They don't know you. They don't know the truth." But the damage was done. By noon, Amara's face was on every gossip website in Nigeria. The woman who destroyed Okafor Innovations. Domestic drama turns deadly. Was she really innocent? Her phone rang. Chidi. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "I'm so sorry," he said immediately. "I don't know how the press got the divorce papers. It wasn't me. I swear it wasn't me." "Does it matter?" Amara asked tiredly. "They have it now. My life is entertainment for strangers." I'm issuing a statement. Defending you. Telling the truth about Michelle. Don't, Amara said sharply. Anything you say will make it worse. They'll say I'm manipulating you. Let it go. Let them say what they want. The truth will come out at trial. Amara. I have to go. I have a client meeting. She hung up before he could argue. But there was no client meeting. Amara sat in her office, staring at the Lego skyline, fighting tears. She'd been so strong. She'd survived betrayal and attempted murder. She'd rebuilt her life. But this public humiliation, this invasion of privacy, it was breaking something inside her that violence hadn't touched. A knock on the door. Rebecca entered without waiting for permission. She must have caught the first flight from Nairobi when she saw the news. Get up, she commanded. We're going out. Rebecca, I can't. You can and you will. You're going to hold your head high. We're going to that cafe you like, the one on the waterfront. We're going to sit outside where everyone can see us. And you're going to show Lagos that you're not ashamed. You're not hiding. You're not broken. But I am broken, Amara whispered. No, Rebecca said firmly. She pulled Amara to her feet. You're wounded. There's a difference. Broken things can't heal. Wounded things do, and they come back stronger. I know because I was where you are. I survived. You will too. They went to the cafe. People stared. Some whispered. A few took photos. Amara wanted to crawl under the table. But Rebecca kept up a steady stream of conversation, acting like nothing was wrong. Slowly, Amara's heartbeat returned to normal. Her breathing steadied. That's it, Rebecca encouraged. You're doing it. You're surviving. By the time they left, Amara felt something shift inside her. The shame was still there, but it was smaller now. Manageable. Michelle had tried to destroy her reputation, but she couldn't destroy who Amara actually was. The people who mattered knew the truth. Back at the office, Detective Okonkwo was waiting. His expression was grave. We need to talk. It's about Obinna. They went into Amara's private office. Tun stood guard outside. Okonkwo pulled out his tablet and showed them a security video from the prison. This was taken 3 days ago. Watch Obinna carefully. The video showed Obinna in the prison yard, talking to another inmate. They exchanged something, too quick for the camera to catch clearly. Then the other inmate walked away. 2 hours later, that inmate was found dead in his cell. Apparent suicide by hanging. What does this have to do with Obinna? Funmaleo asked. The dead inmate was a former associate of Michelle's. He'd agreed to testify against her. He was going to reveal information about her criminal network. Okonkwo paused. We think Obinna poisoned him. On Michelle's orders. Amara felt cold. They're killing witnesses from inside prison? We can't prove it yet. But yes, that's what we believe. Michelle still has connections. Money hidden in places we haven't found. She's orchestrating things from her cell. Okonkwo looked directly at Amara. You're a threat to her. A living witness who can put her away forever. I need you to take this seriously. No going anywhere without your security. No predictable patterns. Change your routines daily. What about Zainab? Amara's voice cracked. Is she in danger? We've assigned undercover protection to her preschool. And I'd recommend you consider moving her to a different school under a different name. At least until the trial is over. Amara wanted to scream. Her daughter shouldn't have to hide. Shouldn't have to change schools and lose friends because of the criminal choices adults had made. But she had no choice. Zainab's safety came first. That night, after moving Zainab to a new preschool across town and explaining to her confused daughter why she had to use Auntie's last name instead of her own, Amara sat in her apartment feeling defeated. Every time she thought she was rebuilding, something new knocked her down. Her phone buzzed. A text from Mama Okafor. I saw the news. I'm so sorry for my part in this nightmare. You don't have to respond. I just wanted you to know I'm praying for you and Zainab every day. You're a stronger woman than I ever was. Amara stared at the message for a long time. Part of her wanted to ignore it. Mama Okafor's choices had contributed to this disaster. But another part, the part that remembered her own mother's wisdom about forgiveness and grace, made her type back, "Thank you. Prayer is appreciated." It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. But it was acknowledgement. A tiny crack in the wall she'd built around her heart. Another message came through. This one from Emeka. "I found something in Obina's old emails. Something that might help your case. Can we meet tomorrow?" Amara arranged to meet Emeka at a neutral location, a busy restaurant in Victoria Island. When she arrived with Tund, Emeka was already there, looking haggard. The toll of his twin brother's betrayal had aged him. "Thank you for coming," Emeka said. He pushed a flash drive across the table. "I've been going through Obina's old computer files. Things he left at my apartment before he disappeared. I found correspondence between him and Michelle going back 4 years. Before she even started working at Okafor Innovations." Amara's eyes widened. 4 years. They were planning this for 4 years. She targeted our family specifically because of the government contract we were bidding for. She knew it was worth hundreds of millions. She groomed Obina first, then infiltrated the company. Emeka's voice broke. "My own brother. He sold us out years before we even knew we were in danger. Have you given this to the police?" "I'm giving it to you first. Because some of these emails, they talk about you. About how to isolate you. How to turn Chitty against you." Michelle wrote detailed psychological profiles of everyone in our family. She knew exactly which buttons to push. Emeka met her eyes. "I'm so sorry, Amara. If I'd known. If I'd seen the signs. My brother tried to murder you and Zainab. I'll never forgive myself for not protecting you." Amara reached across the table and squeezed his hand. "You didn't know. None of us did. That's what made her so dangerous." They sat in silence for a moment. Then Emeka said quietly, "Chitty loves you, you know. He's destroyed by what he did. He knows you'll never take him back, but he loves you still." "I'm sure he does," Amara said. "But love without trust is just words. And I can't trust him. Not after everything." "I understand." Emeka stood to leave. "For what it's worth, you're the best thing that ever happened to our family. You brought light to that dark mansion. I hope someday you can find happiness again. You deserve it." After he left, Amara gave the flash drive to Detective Okonkwo. The evidence was damning. Proof of premeditation. Proof of Michelle's international criminal network. Proof that Obina had been complicit from the beginning. It should have felt like a victory. But all Amara felt was exhaustion. How many more revelations would there be? How many more layers of betrayal would she have to uncover? Rebecca called that evening. "I heard about the flash drive. This is good, Amara. This is the evidence we need to bury them both." "Then why don't I feel victorious?" Amara asked. "Because you're human. Because victory in a war you never wanted to fight doesn't feel like winning. It feels like surviving. And survival is exhausting." Rebecca paused. "But you are surviving. That's what matters. You're still standing. Michelle thought she'd destroy you, but you're still here. Still fighting. Still protecting your daughter. That's the real victory." Amara looked at Zainab, asleep on the couch with her new teddy bear clutched tight. Her baby girl, innocent and pure, caught in the crossfire of adult corruption and greed. Everything Amara did, every battle she fought, was for this child. "You're right," Amara said softly. "I'm still here. And I'm not going anywhere." What do you think will happen at the trial? Will justice be served? Drop your predictions in the comments and hit that subscribe button for the next chapter. This story is far from over. The trial began on a humid Monday morning in Lagos State High Court. The building was surrounded by media vans, reporters shouting questions at everyone who entered. Amara walked through the chaos with her head high, flanked by Tund and her lawyer, a fierce woman named Kemi Basharan who'd made her reputation destroying defense arguments in high-profile cases. Inside the courtroom, Amara saw Michelle for the first time since her arrest. The woman had changed dramatically. Gone were the designer clothes and perfect makeup. She wore a plain prison uniform, her hair pulled back severely. But her eyes, when they met Amara's, burned with pure hatred. Obinna sat at a separate defense table, his lawyer clearly trying to distance him from Michelle. Emeka sat in the gallery, unable to look at his twin. Chidi was there too, several rows behind Amara. Mama Okafor sat beside him, her face hidden behind dark sunglasses. The judge, Justice Adebayo, was a no-nonsense woman in her 60s with a reputation for harsh sentences in fraud cases. She called the court to order, and the prosecution began presenting their case. The evidence was overwhelming. Bank statements showing Michelle's theft of over 70 million naira. Emails detailing the conspiracy. Security footage of her planting the malware. Testimony from the flight technician who'd discovered it. Rebecca Wanjiru's testimony about Michelle's previous crimes in Kenya. But Michelle's lawyer, a slick man named Olyamide Coker, was good at his job. During cross-examination, he painted a picture of Michelle as a brilliant woman trapped by circumstances, manipulated by Obinna, used by Chidi for sex and then discarded. "Isn't it true," Coker asked Michelle gently, "that Mr. Okafor promised to leave his wife for you?" "Yes," Michelle said, her voice soft and wounded. "Perfect victim. He said he loved me. That we'd be together once the divorce was final. But he was lying. He just wanted someone available when his wife wasn't satisfying him." Amara's lawyer objected, but the damage was done. The jury had heard it. Chidi's face was red with rage, but he couldn't defend himself from the gallery. Then Coker turned his attention to destroying Amara's credibility. "Mrs. Okafor, isn't it true that you married my client's lover for his money?" "No," Amara said firmly. "I married him because I loved him. But you gave up a lucrative career to become a housewife. That suggests financial dependence." "I gave up my career because his mother pressured me to. She said a proper wife stayed home. Or perhaps you saw an opportunity. A wealthy man, a successful company. You had a child to trap him. Then when you discovered his affair, you plotted revenge. That's not true, isn't it? You had cybersecurity expertise. You knew how to plant malware. You had motive, means, and opportunity. My client claims you approached her 6 months ago with a plan to frame her for crimes you intended to commit." The courtroom erupted. Kemi was on her feet objecting. Justice Adebayo banged her gavel. But the seed was planted. Reasonable doubt. During the lunch recess, Amara sat in a private conference room, shaking. "He's making me look guilty," she told Kemi. "The jury is believing him." "No, they're not," Kemi said firmly. "They're listening because that's their job. But we have the evidence. We have Rebecca's testimony. We have the flash drive Emeka provided showing premeditation going back years. You can't plant evidence 4 years before you even meet someone. We'll destroy their narrative on redirect." That afternoon, Kemi systematically dismantled Michelle's defense. She showed emails from 4 years ago, before Amara had even met Chidi, where Michelle was already researching Okafor innovations. She presented testimony from Michelle's previous victims in South Africa and Cameroon. She showed how Michelle's modus operandi was identical in each case: seduce, isolate the wife, steal, and stage an accident. "This is not a woman wronged by love," Kemi told the jury in her closing argument. "This is a professional criminal who has killed before and will kill again." She targeted the Okafor family with surgical precision. She manipulated Obinna Okafor for years before infiltrating the company. She seduced Chidi Okafor to gain access to company secrets and family assets. And when Amara Okafor threatened to expose her, she tried to murder her along with everyone else on that plane. This is not a crime of passion. This is calculated, premeditated murder for profit. The jury deliberated for 3 days. 3 days of Amara barely sleeping, barely eating, wondering if justice would prevail or if Michelle's lawyers had created enough doubt to set her free. On Thursday afternoon, the jury returned. The courtroom was packed, standing room only. Amara gripped Rebecca's hand on one side and Gozie's on the other. On the charge of attempted murder, the foreman read, we find the defendant Michelle Dubois guilty. Amara's knees went weak. Guilty. They'd believed her. On the charge of conspiracy to commit fraud, guilty. On the charge of corporate espionage, guilty. On the charge of money laundering, guilty. With each verdict, Michelle's face grew paler. When the foreman finished, she stood there in shock, unable to process that her manipulation had finally failed. Obinna's verdict came next. Guilty on all counts. He wept openly, begging for mercy, swearing he'd been manipulated. The judge was unmoved. You both targeted a family for financial gain, Justice Adebayo said coldly. You were willing to murder innocent people, including a 3-year-old child. You have shown no remorse, only self-pity. Michelle Dubois, I sentence you to life imprisonment without possibility of parole. Obinna Okafor, I sentence you to 40 years imprisonment. Michelle exploded. She lunged toward Amara, screaming obscenities in French and English, promising revenge even from prison. Guards subdued her quickly, dragging her from the courtroom still screaming threats. Obinna just sat there, broken, as guards led him away. Emeka watched his twin disappear, tears streaming down his face. The brother he'd shared a womb with, his other half, was gone forever. The betrayal had cost Obinna everything. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed Amara. Cameras flashed. Microphones thrust in her face. For once, she didn't shy away. Justice was served today, she said clearly. Not just for my family, but for all of Michelle Dubois's victims. The women she widowed in Kenya. The families she destroyed in South Africa and Cameroon. She's finally been stopped. And to anyone else living through domestic betrayal or infidelity, know this. You are stronger than you think. You can survive. You can rebuild. Don't let anyone make you feel small or worthless. Stand up. Fight back. And never, ever give up on yourself. The video of her statement went viral. Within hours, it had millions of views across Africa. Women shared their own stories of betrayal and survival in the comments. Amara became, unexpectedly, a symbol of resilience. But that night, alone in her apartment after putting Zainab to bed, Amara finally allowed herself to cry. Not tears of sadness, but of release. It was over. The trial. The fighting. The constant fear. Michelle was locked away forever. Obinna too. Justice had prevailed. Her phone rang. Chidi. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Thank you, he said quietly, for being strong enough to see this through. For protecting Zainab. For getting justice. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but thank you. You're welcome, Amara said. And Chidi, I do forgive you. Not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. I'm letting go of the anger. I'm moving forward. I hope you can do the same. I will, he promised. And Amara? Zainab is lucky to have you as her mother. I see that now. I'm sorry it took almost losing everything for me to understand what I had. After they hung up, Amara felt lighter than she had in months. Forgiveness didn't mean reconciliation. It didn't erase what he'd done, but it freed her from the prison of bitterness and rage. She could finally, truly, move on. Rebecca called to congratulate her. You did it. You beat her. We did it, Amara corrected. I couldn't have survived this without you. That's what survivors do, Rebecca said warmly. We help each other. We're warriors, Amara. We've been through fire and came out stronger. Now we use that strength to help other women do the same. It was an idea that had been forming in Amara's mind for weeks. She and Rebecca could work together, helping other victims of corporate fraud and domestic betrayal, providing support, resources, legal assistance. Turning their pain into purpose. I like that idea, Amara said. I like it a lot. As she ended the call and checked on Zainab one more time, Amara looked around her small apartment. It wasn't a mansion. It wasn't what she'd dreamed of when she'd married Chitty 7 years ago. But it was hers, earned through her own strength and resilience. And sometimes, losing everything you thought you wanted is how you find everything you actually need. Are you inspired by Amara's strength? Comment "Justice" below if you believe she deserved this victory. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories of women who refuse to be broken. 6 months after the trial, Amara stood in front of the newly opened Phoenix Center, a non-profit organization she and Rebecca had founded to help victims of domestic betrayal and corporate fraud. The building was modest but welcoming, with comfortable counseling rooms, legal consultation offices, and a children's play area for mothers who needed support but had nowhere to leave their kids. The opening ceremony drew a crowd of supporters, media, and most importantly, women who needed help. Amara cut the ribbon alongside Rebecca and Fun Maleo, who joined as the organization's chief financial advisor. This is for every woman who's been told she's not enough, Amara said to the crowd. For every woman who's been betrayed and made to feel like it was her fault. For every mother fighting to protect her children from the consequences of adult corruption. You are not alone. You are not weak. And you deserve support, justice, and a fresh start. The applause was thunderous. Among the crowd, Amara spotted Ngozi cheering loudly, tears streaming down her face. Mama Okafor was there too, standing in the back, her face a mixture of pride and regret. They'd been slowly rebuilding their relationship, meeting for coffee once a month, talking carefully around the wounds that were still healing. Chitty had donated a significant sum to the Phoenix Center, asking only that his contribution remain anonymous. Amara had accepted it, knowing that money could help women who desperately needed it. Their divorce had been finalized 2 months earlier, quick and relatively painless once they'd stopped fighting and started cooperating. Chitty had joint custody of Zainab, and to his credit, he was being an excellent father. Consistent, loving, present. As the ceremony ended and guests filtered inside for tours and refreshments, a young woman approached Amara hesitantly. She was maybe 25, wearing a scarf that didn't quite hide a fading bruise on her cheek. "Mrs. Okafor," she said softly, "I saw your statement after the trial. It gave me courage to leave my husband. He was beating me, telling me I was worthless. I believed him until I heard you say we're stronger than we think. I just wanted to thank you." Amara hugged this stranger, feeling her tremble. "You're safe now. We're going to help you. That's what we're here for." By the end of the day, the Phoenix Center had registered 43 women seeking help. Stories of infidelity, abuse, financial manipulation, custody battles. Each one unique, yet eerily similar. Women made to feel small by men who'd promised to love them. That evening, Amara picked up Zainab from Chitty's house. Their daughter was growing so fast, already 4 years old, chattering non-stop about her day with Daddy and Grandma Okafor. "We went to the park. And Daddy bought me ice cream. And Grandma taught me a song in Igbo." Zainab bounced in her car seat, pure joy radiating from her. "That sounds wonderful, baby," Amara said, smiling. At the small park near her apartment, Amara pushed Zainab on the swings while the evening sun painted Lagos in shades of orange and gold. Tun stood nearby, ever watchful, though the threat had passed months ago. Amara kept him on anyway. Some precautions become habits, and she'd learned the hard way that vigilance matters. "Higher, Mama. Higher." Zainab squealed, her laughter pure and unself-conscious. Amara pushed harder, watching her daughter soar through the air, fearless and free. This was what mattered. Not the mansion she'd lost. Not the marriage that had crumbled. Not even the justice she'd fought so hard to achieve. This moment, right here, with her daughter safe and happy, this was victory. Her phone buzzed. A message from the Phoenix Center. Emergency intake. Woman and 2 children fleeing abuse. Need immediate placement. Amara's jaw tightened. This was the part that never got easier. Every new case was a reminder that Michelle might be locked away, but the world was full of people ready to exploit, betray, and harm those who trusted them. She typed back quickly, "Coordinate with Rebecca. Use the emergency fund for hotel placement tonight. I'll meet with her first thing tomorrow." "Mama, can we get suya?" Zainab asked as Amara lifted her off the swing. "Of course, baby. Suya it is." They walked to the street vendor at the corner, Zainab chattering about a picture she'd painted at preschool. As the vendor wrapped their order, Amara's phone rang. "Funmileo. You sitting down?" Funmileo asked without preamble. "I'm standing at a suya stand with my 4-year-old. What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. Actually, something's very right. The government just approved our grant application. 50 million naira to expand the Phoenix Center's services across Lagos State." Amara's breath caught. 50 million? 50 million. We can open satellite offices. Hire more counselors. Provide legal aid to women who can't afford lawyers. Amara, we're going to change lives. After the call ended, Amara stood there holding warm suya, her daughter's hand in hers, feeling the weight of possibility. A year ago, she'd been thrown off a plane, humiliated, nearly murdered. Now she was running 2 successful businesses and helping women rebuild their lives. "Mama, why are you crying?" Zainab looked up with concern. "Happy tears, baby. Just happy tears." Back at the apartment, after Zainab was bathed and tucked into bed with her favorite story, Amara sat on her balcony overlooking the lagoon. The water reflected the city lights, and somewhere in the distance, music drifted from a nearby party. Her phone showed a message from Chidi. "Zainab told me about the grant. Congratulations. You're doing incredible things. I'm proud of you." Amara smiled. They'd never be together again. That door was permanently closed. But they'd found something better: mutual respect and genuine cooperation for their daughter's sake. Chidi was becoming the man he should have been all along. It was too late for their marriage, but not too late for him to be a good father. Another message, this one from Mama Okafor. "I saw the news about the Phoenix Center. Your mother would be proud of the woman you've become. I know I failed you, but I'm proud too." Amara's relationship with her former mother-in-law would always be complicated. Some wounds cut too deep to fully heal. But they'd found a careful peace, built on acknowledgement of past wrongs and genuine efforts to do better. A video call request came through. "Rebecca, calling from Nairobi. You heard about the grant?" Amara answered. "I heard. And I have news too. Kenya is launching a task force to investigate corporate fraud targeting family businesses. They want us to consult. They want to learn from what we built." "Rebecca, that's amazing. It's because of you. Because you refused to be silenced. Because you fought back." Rebecca's face grew serious. "I got a letter today. From Michelle. Forwarded through her lawyer." Amara's stomach clenched. What did it say? Threats, mostly. Claims that she has allies who'll finish what she started. Standard intimidation tactics from someone with nothing left to lose. Rebecca paused. "But here's the thing," the prison warden flagged it. "They're moving her to maximum security isolation. She won't be able to contact anyone outside again. She's screaming into the void now, and no one's listening." "Good," Amara said firmly. "Let her scream." After they hung up, Amara checked on Zainab one more time. Her daughter slept peacefully, clutching the teddy bear Chidi had given her. So innocent. So protected from the darkness that had nearly consumed their family. Amara's mind drifted to all the women she'd met through the Phoenix Center. The teacher whose husband had stolen her inheritance. The entrepreneur whose business partner had committed fraud in her name. The single mother whose ex was weaponizing the courts to maintain control. Each story was different, yet connected by the common thread of betrayal and the fierce determination to survive. She thought about her own journey. The girl from Enugu who'd worked her way through university. The young professional who'd fallen in love with a wealthy man. The wife who'd sacrificed her career for family. The mother who'd been thrown off a plane. The survivor who'd exposed an international criminal. the entrepreneur who was now changing lives. Each version of herself had been necessary to become who she was today. Even the painful parts. Especially the painful parts. A soft knock at the door. Tund, checking in for his final rounds before the night shift guard arrived. "All clear, ma'am," he reported. "Though you had a delivery. Left it with building security." Amara went downstairs and retrieved a package. No return address, but it had cleared security screening. Inside was a handwritten note on expensive paper and a small jewelry box. The note was from Emeka. "This was my mother's. She wanted you to have it. She said you're more family than some who share our blood. Thank you for giving us a chance to make things right." Inside the box was a delicate gold necklace with a small pendant, the Igbo symbol for strength. Amara's eyes filled with tears. She fastened it around her neck, feeling its weight settle against her collarbone. A reminder of where she'd been and where she was going. Her phone buzzed with a reminder. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., first meeting with a new client at the Phoenix Center. A woman whose story Amara didn't know yet, but whose pain she would understand. Whose fight she would support. Whose victory she would celebrate. This was her purpose now. Not revenge. Not bitterness. But transformation. Helping others transform their pain into power, their betrayal into boundaries, their survival into success. Amara walked back to her balcony, looking out over Lagos. The city that had witnessed her humiliation and her triumph. The city where she'd lost everything and found herself. She thought about all the women who'd sent messages after the trial. Women in Abuja, Port Harcourt, Ibadan, even other African countries. Women who saw themselves in her story. Women who found courage in her courage. She thought about Zainab, growing up with a mother who'd taught her that women don't have to accept betrayal as their fate. That fighting back is not only possible but necessary. That justice might be slow, but it's worth pursuing. And she thought about herself, no longer defined by who she'd married or who had betrayed her, but by who she'd chosen to become in the aftermath. The lagoon sparkled beneath the stars. Somewhere in a maximum security prison, Michelle plotted revenge she'd never execute. Somewhere in another cell, Obinna mourned the family he'd betrayed. But here, in this small apartment in Victoria Island, Amara stood free. She'd been thrown from a plane and had learned to fly. She'd been broken and had rebuilt herself stronger. She'd been betrayed and had chosen to become a shield for others. This was her story. Not the story of a woman destroyed by a man's infidelity and a criminal's schemes. But the story of a woman who'd stared into the abyss, turned around, and built a lighthouse so others could find their way out of the darkness. Amara Okafor, survivor, mother, entrepreneur, advocate, stood on her balcony and smiled. The future was uncertain. There would be more battles, more challenges, more women who needed help. But she was ready. She was more than ready. She was unstoppable. If Amara's story inspired you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment telling us what resilience means to you. And remember, you're stronger than you think, braver than you believe, and capable of more than you imagine. Thank you for following this journey. Stay strong. Stay fierce. Stay unbreakable.